Miley Cyrus has had a very traumatic health scare, and I've got the details. There's a chance Miley Cyrus may never hit the road again, but before you cry at the thought of missing your fave on stage, it's for very valid health-related reasons. The Grammy winner opened up about a recent health scare with Apple Music's Zane Lowe, detailing how she faced an excruciating and traumatic experience when performing with her godmother, Dolly Parton, during their New Year's Eve special. Now, Miley shared the ordeal and said, "I had a pretty traumatic experience on a show that I was doing with Lorne Michaels. When I was doing my New Year's show, I had a medical emergency. I had an ovarian cyst rupture. We didn't know exactly what was going on, so we did it." She shared that she and the Saturday Night Live creator had a very candid conversation after the show where she discussed almost quitting the music industry altogether. She said, "I had dinner with Lorne and he said something, that has now stuck with me." He goes, 6 months. Everybody has 6 months to feel sorry for themselves, and then we start to rebuild." She continued to say, he's like, "You have no idea how many artists have sat in this chair and told me they were quitting music. Everyone does this. Everyone has these traumatic experiences." Now, elsewhere in her Apple Music interview, Miley also spoke about how her sobriety and health journey has played, a very pivotal role in how she approaches live performances. She said, "Part of that is keeping myself mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally well. And I want to emphasize the physically because of how taxing a physical live performance is, and something I wanted to mention to you. So I had the Ranke's edema, which is abuse of the vocal cords." So she continued to say, "I've had this very large kind of cyst on my vocal cord, which has given me a lot of the tone and texture that has made me who I am. But it's extremely difficult to perform with it because it's like running a marathon with ankle weights on." She continued and said, "My voice is super unique because of it though, and I'm not willing to sever it because the chance of waking up from a surgery and not sounding like myself is a good probability." Now, Miley last toured in 2014 to support her album Bangers, and in 2019 she performed at a bunch of festivals including Glastonbury and Lollapalooza, and in 2023 she explained her decision to opt out of touring during an interview with British Vogue and said, "Singing for hundreds of thousands of people isn't really the thing that I love. There's no connection, there's no safety. It's also not natural. It's so isolating because if you're in front of 100,000 people, then you are alone." She added that touring ultimately affected her health, saying, "I was in a lot of pain. I was kind of back into the pop star thing and I noticed I had this flare up." She had asked herself, "Do I want to live my life for anyone else's pleasure or fulfillment other than my own?" Cyrus has since regrouped, and her new album Something Beautiful is set for release later this month. Flowers is still running amok in my playlist, so I'm looking forward to this new album. If she would just do one more tour, then we'd really get the best of both worlds.
Fans have been worried about Ariana Grande for quite a while now, and mostly it has to do with her appearance. Since filming her movie Wicked, Ariana has changed her appearance drastically, and one thing people have noticed is that she's lost a lot of weight. So much that you can see her bones sticking out, and fans have been worried about this, theorizing that she could have some sort of eating disorder. Now, there has been a lot of speculation about her appearance, and Ariana actually addressed this in a video she posted online. She made a TikTok reminding followers, "You never know what someone is going through. Even if you are coming from a loving place and a caring place, that person is probably working on it or has a support system that they are working on it with," Ariana said. "So be gentle with each other and with yourselves." She added, "There are so many different ways to look healthy and beautiful," adding that her previous figure people were comparing her to was the unhealthiest version of my body. "I was on a lot of antidepressants and drinking on them and eating poorly, and at the lowest point of my life when I looked the way you consider my healthy," she said, "but that in fact wasn't my healthy." Now, some people though don't believe her and think that she's saying this just to shut people up, but it seems like it didn't work as more and more people have been commenting on her appearance. Now, many people also speculate that she could have changed her look so drastically to get people to talk about that instead of her home-wrecking scandal. You see, Ariana was married to her partner Dalton Gomez when she first started filming Wicked, but then it was discovered that they separated and were getting a divorce. Then, rumors swirled that Ariana started a relationship with her Wicked co-star Ethan Slater, who apparently at the time had a wife and a young baby. People online were calling her a homewrecker and bashing on her constantly, with this becoming a huge scandal. Since then, Ethan's now ex-wife has come out and said that there has been no cheating and that she was separated from Ethan when he and Ariana got together. Some fans though don't believe that and think she's just saying that to protect Ethan and Ariana. Not to mention, Ariana has struggled with mental health challenges her entire life as she's gone through many traumatic events. In 2017, one of her concerts in Manchester was attacked and 22 people passed away due to it. Then just a year later in 2018, her ex-boyfriend Mac Miller passed away due to an overdose. Now he seemed to be head over heels for Ariana, while she had moved on to another relationship and was engaged to Pete Davidson. Due to this, many people online blamed Ariana for Mac's passing, which simply wasn't true, but she received a ton of hate and it wasn't fair. So as you can see, Ariana has gone through her fair share of troubles, and we hope that she gets the help that she needs because she's an inspiration for millions and we don't want to see anything bad happen to her.
It's Britney and Balenciaga. That's right, Britney Spears just announced she's got a new collab under her belt, but fans are seriously worried. Balenciaga and Britney Spears debuted a surprise collaboration for the Balenciaga music series, featuring limited edition merchandise and a playlist curated by the Princess of Pop herself. The 12-piece ready-to-wear and accessories collection was unveiled as part of the fashion house's Spring 2026 lookbook, and you can actually cop a cropped graphic tee, but that alone will cost you $795. But hey, it has a throwback photo of Spears on it, and there's also a studded black baseball cap for a whopping $1,250 that reads Britney in blue. And that's not all, she's giving us more, available to stream on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, and Amazon Music. The playlist includes hits from her personal archive and songs that have inspired her, such as Whitney Houston's I Have Nothing and Madonna's Justify My Love. Spears expressed her enthusiasm about the new partnership in a statement. She said, "I've always loved fashion and was so honored and excited Balenciaga and Demna chose to collaborate with me on last collection with the house. I hope my fans love it as much as I do. These are some of my favorite images from such an amazing time in my career and life, and I'm so excited to share it with everyone." While fans were excited to get a new project from the pop princess, most cringed when they saw, these eye-watering price tags. Fans didn't hold back about the pricey products on social media, with one person writing, "The way this new Britney merch is mostly over $1,000, insane." Another person wrote, "New Britney merch is $1,000? Yeah, no, F off. These prices are actually gross. You can tell her team is basically beyond desperate to make money as she won't work. No offense, but no one is going to spend that much on Britney merch." Honestly, I agree. Others felt that the design simply didn't justify the hefty cost. One outraged social media fan said, "This disappointed me. You can get these t-shirts at the flea market. I expected more effort from this brand. I'll most likely buy it on Temu." Real, because yeah, same. According to Balenciaga's website, the Britney Spears series celebrates a global cultural icon who shaped the sound and style of pop music. This isn't the only reason fans are upset and worried though. Some fans have pointed out that people haven't forgotten the huge scandal Balenciaga was involved in just a while ago. People took to social media to remind everyone. One person said, "Balenciaga's brand has been stained with allegations of exploitation." Not happy with them using her, with someone replying to that comment saying, "I was waiting for someone to bring this up. Love Brit, but this is not it." Another person said, "People who don't know what's going on with Balenciaga and their recent controversies and ongoing stupid output of products need to read up on them before you go and even try to purchase something. They're literally selling tape as a bracelet now." Not to mention the weird photo shoot they did using young people and teddy bears dressed up in leather and S&M style attire. Gross. I agree. Not that I can afford Balenciaga, but if I could, I wouldn't be supporting them. They're involved in some really shady stuff, and also I just think their stuff is way overpriced, ugly, and kind of unnecessary.
Sharon Osbourne, a familiar face on television for decades, has always been open about her struggles with weight and body image. But in recent months, new photos of the 72-year-old media personality have left fans stunned. The dramatic change in her appearance is largely attributed to her use of Ozempic, a diabetes medication that has surged in popularity as a weight loss shortcut. Osbourne's journey and the visible side effects have sparked a broader conversation about the risks and realities of rapid weight loss through medications like Ozempic. Recent public appearances and viral videos have shown Sharon Osbourne looking thinner. Fans on social media have expressed disbelief, with comments ranging from concerns about her health to the impact of Ozempic on her appearance. This unrecognizable transformation has prompted questions about the medicine's side effects and the sustainability of such rapid weight loss. Osbourne began taking ozempic for a while after years of struggling with her weight. She has spoken candidly about her experiences, revealing that she lost about 42 pounds in just 4 months, a rate of weight loss that even she admits was too much. Osbourne has also described initial weeks on Ozempic as quite difficult. One of the most talked about side effects among celebrities using Ozempic is Ozempic mouth, a term coined by dermatologists to describe the rapid loss of facial volume. This condition manifests as deepened lines around the mouth, sagging skin, and a more aged appearance. Dr. Michelle Green explains, many users of Ozempic who I know report noticeable volume loss on the face, which can result in the formation of fine lines, wrinkles, sagging skin, and jowls around the mouth. This volume loss can also worsen the appearance of existing fine lines, wrinkles, and skin laxity. While Ozempic is FDA approved for type 2 diabetes and in some cases for weight management, its use for cosmetic weight loss has raised alarms. Osbourne's experience highlights several health risks: excessive weight loss, metabolic changes, addiction to weight loss, facial aging, and gastrointestinal side effects. Despite her struggles, Osbourne has found some acceptance, stating, "I don't think I'll ever be happy with the way I look, but I'm now satisfied. It's taken years for me to say this, but I've learned my lesson. This is me. It's finally time to leave well enough alone." Still, her experience serves as a high-profile example of the potential downsides of using powerful medications for quick fix weight loss. Sharon Osbourne's transformation has ignited a wider debate about the use of diabetes drugs for weight loss, took the pressure to conform to beauty standards, and the unforeseen consequences of rapid body changes. As more celebrities and everyday people turn to medications like Ozempic, Osbourne's journey stands both as a warning and a testament to the complexities of body image in the modern age. Chrissy Teigen, the model, author, and television personality, has long been in the public eye for her candid social media presence and openness about her personal life. Recently, however, Teigen has sparked widespread discussion and concern after sharing new photos in which she appears dramatically different, prompting many to describe her as unrecognizable. The images, which quickly went viral, have fueled speculation about her health and cosmetic procedures, as well as broader conversations about beauty standards and transparency in the celebrity world. The latest wave of attention began when Teigen posted a series of photos to her social media accounts. In these images, her face appears noticeably altered, with visible bandages and swelling. The photos showed her with a heavily bandaged face, which immediately led fans and followers to question what had happened and whether she was recovering from a medical procedure or injury. The dramatic change in her appearance was so pronounced that many commenters admitted they could not recognize her at first glance. Social media platforms filled with comments expressing concern for her well-being, with some fans fearing that she had suffered an accident or undergone a serious medical procedure. The bandages in particular fueled speculation about possible surgical interventions, as such coverings are commonly associated with recovery from facial procedures. Some fans defended Teigen, pointing out her history of openness about cosmetic enhancements and suggesting that she was simply being transparent about her recovery process. Others, however, criticized the culture of celebrity beauty standards that can pressure public figures to undergo frequent and sometimes extreme procedures. Teigen has never shied away from discussing her experiences with cosmetic enhancements. Over the years, she has openly admitted to undergoing various treatments, including Botox, buccal fat removal, and breast implants. In fact, she has often used her platform to demystify and destigmatize the cosmetic world, encouraging honest conversations about beauty and self-image. Just a day after posting the troubling images, Teigen revealed that she had undergone a hairline lowering procedure, a surgery designed to reduce the height of the forehead by moving the hairline forward. She shared details about the procedure with her followers, explaining that it was something that she had wanted to do for a long time. The recovery process for such a surgery can involve significant swelling, bruising, and the need for bandages, symptoms that align with her recent photos. Teigen's willingness to share her experience with this procedure is consistent with her past transparency about cosmetic work. By posting photos of her recovery, she may be aiming to normalize the realities of surgical enhancement and the sometimes uncomfortable healing process. The conversation around Teigen's appearance also highlights the double-edged sword of celebrity openness. While her honesty about cosmetic procedures is often praised, it also invites intense scrutiny and judgment from the public and media alike. This scrutiny can perpetuate unrealistic beauty standards and contribute to the stigma around aging and natural appearance changes. In the aftermath of the viral photos, Teigen has continued to engage with her followers, providing updates on her recovery and addressing some of the speculation. She has reiterated her commitment to transparency, emphasizing that her decision to undergo cosmetic procedures is personal and that she hopes to help others feel less alone in their own beauty journeys. As the conversation continues, Teigen's case illustrates both the challenges and opportunities that come with living life in the public eye. While the reaction to her unrecognizable photos has been mixed, it has undeniably sparked valuable dialogue about self-acceptance, transparency, and the realities behind the curated images we see online.
Kelly Ripa posted a recent selfie and it has fans absolutely taken back. She is almost completely unrecognizable. For those who aren't familiar, Kelly Ripa is known for her longtime role as a co-host on Live with Kelly and Mark and her undeniable energy on TV. She also, became a style icon and fitness inspiration over the years, but recently new photos of her with her husband Mark Consuelos had caused a bit of stir online. And honestly, I can see why. First off, let's talk about how unrecognizable Kelly looks in this latest picture. It's not just the clothes or the setting, it's her overall transformation. Now, in the image, Kelly is wearing a red dress that, kind of perfectly highlights her very toned arms and fit physique, but it's not just the outfit that stands out, it's the way she looks a little too fragile and frail. Fans were quick to notice her look and strong features, which, has led to some really interesting reactions. Now, let's be real here, Kelly Ripa has always been known for her fitness, but this recent photo seems to be drawing, a lot of attention. Her arms in particular seem thinner than ever, and honestly, it's clear she's either been working out a little too much, or maybe, dare I say, on Ozempic. Now, Kelly's fitness has always been part of her public persona, but this photo has definitely taken it to the next level. Or, while some are praising Kelly for being an inspiration, others are, a little bit more critical. Some are wondering if her transformation is due to extreme dieting or just really intense workouts. But let's not forget, Kelly is, again, known for her healthy lifestyle. So it's possible she's just putting in the work day in and day out to achieve this particular look. Now, another point that's been raised is the way she's aged. Kelly has always had a very youthful glow, but this photo shows her looking arguably much older than she actually is. One person online said she's got that Ozempic face, with another person saying it's giving skeleton. One person also said, not being mean, I do think she has a disorder. I hope she gets better and gets it checked out. She looks unhealthy. Love her and her husband. Now let's talk about Mark Consuelos for a second. In this photo, we also see Kelly's husband Mark, who looks, as charming as ever. The two of them together just kind of exude couple goals. I mean, not really for me, it's a no for me, but millions of others think that, so I'll let that ride. Now, it's clear that their love and support for each other are still going very strong after all these years, and at the end of the day's gotta end, and Kelly Ripa is a public figure who has built a brand based on her vibrant personality, her health journey, and her role as a loving wife and mother. It's not just about, how she looks, but also about the energy she brings to everything she does. So, while some may be surprised by how different she looks in these recent photos, others do see it as a testament to her hard work and dedication to living her best life. So whether you're a fan of her appearance or not, you have to admit Kelly looks drastically different. And whether that's good or not, it's her business, right? I mean, what do you guys think about Kelly Ripa's transformation? Nicole Kidman, while beautiful, is almost unrecognizable now. So what happened? Well, these new photos say it all. Nicole Kidman looked nearly unrecognizable as she posed up a storm in two different wigs for her latest Allure interview, which was published on Thursday. The Moulin Rouge actress, who recently broke her silence on wearing wigs, stunned as she appeared on the cover for the publication and discussed a number of topics such as grief and aging. Now, she absolutely wowed in a reddish orange wig that had bangs which fell down onto her forehead, as well as strands that kind of flowed down past her shoulders. Kidman wore a strapless black Balenciaga top and high-waisted black leggings that clung to her frame. Now, she looked good, I will give her that. In other images snapped by photographer Dan Below for the outlet, she also opted for a shorter red bob with bangs while wearing a purple Robert Cavelli dress. Now, the ensemble contained a thigh-high slit on the left that offered a glimpse, at the sleek purple heels that she additionally wore for the photo shoot. Now, people, of course, took to the comments. One person said, really put the leg in legend, with another saying, wow, you devoured these pictures. However, some people took to the comments to ask if she's got work done. One person person said, "What about your facelift?" With another person adding, "Why don't you admit to all the Botox and fillers you've had in the past year?" Jeez, God forbid a celebrity get a little work done to stay youthful, am I right? Anyways, this photo shoot comes not long after the star suffered a wig mishap while making an appearance at the 2025 Cannes Film Festival earlier this month. While walking the red carpet at glitzy events, she rocked a blonde hairpiece, but the wig cap was visible, and in another instance, the wig itself was just off-center. Girl, where was your stylist? During an appearance on Chanel 7 Sunrise this week, Nicole opened up about, opting for wigs. She said, "As you know, I love changing my hair. While some fans initially believed that the star was simply unveiling, her natural hair, it was soon revealed that it had also been a wig." She continued to say, "For the Met Gala, everyone was questioning if I had chopped my hair off, but no, I didn't." Now, during her interview with Daniela Pergament for her new cover story for Allure for its May 2025 issue, Kidman reflected on getting older. When questioned if aging has been difficult, the actress candidly replied, saying, "Yes, I've always, been a future person, and suddenly you go, oh, it's coming to terms with the idea that you have no control over the future." She continued to say, "Probably that's to do with losing people very, very suddenly. I have more time behind me than ahead. That shift in the ratio becomes a big thing. You're just always going, what is all this?" The existential questions, who are we? Why are we here? The Oscar winner is preparing to actually celebrate her 50th birthday next month on June 20th. Now, Nicole also had a discussion about coping with grief following the passing of her mother last year in September. She said, "Losing my mother changed every part of me." She said that they would talk to each other multiple times a week. The star explained that her mother's passing still feels so raw, and added that she is still on the journey of grief, the year of magical thinking. Nicole has been keeping busy though, and recently, starred in the second season of the Hulu thriller series 9 Perfect Strangers, which she also executive produces. And yes, okay, I'm excited for this because season 1 was so good, am I right? Other cast members in this new season, which began airing this week on Wednesday, include Henry Golding, Annie Murphy, Christine Baranski, Mary Bartlett, Mark Strong. Honestly, it's really giving A-list, so I'm here for it. Okay, cast. Now, if you're a Practical Magic fan, well, her and Sandy B are filming that too, and honestly, I can't wait for it.
In May 2025, Britney Spears once again found herself at the center of a media storm after an incident aboard a flight from Cabo San Lucas, Mexico to Los Angeles. The pop icon's decision to light a cigarette mid-flight in clear violation of federal aviation regulations has sparked widespread concern and debate about her well-being and judgment, reigniting public scrutiny that has followed her for decades. On May 22, 2025, Spears, traveling with her security team, reportedly lit a cigarette while the plane was airborne. Witnesses described her as visibly intoxicated. Flight attendants immediately intervened, instructing her to extinguish the cigarette. Spears complied, but the crew alerted authorities, who met her upon landing and issued a formal warning regarding her behavior. Federal rules prohibit smoking on any commercial airline. Spears' misunderstanding of this rule, or disregard for it, becomes a focal point of this incident. The day after the incident, Spears addressed the controversy on Instagram, posting a video from the flight and offering her perspective. She described the situation as hilarious, explaining that she thought the plane allowed smoking because the drink holders were outside the seat, a detail she found unusual and apparently interpreted as a sign of relaxed rules. She also clarified that she wasn't the one to get the cigarette out. It was her friend that put it in her mouth and lit it. She did apologize to anyone that she may have offended, but her tone remained lighthearted, which suggested to some that she did not fully grasp the seriousness of the violation. Spears further remarked that she thought the officials who met her at the airport were there to support her, not realizing at first that they were responding to her behavior. For many, the episode is reminiscent of the turbulent years that led to Spears' court-ordered conservatorship. During that period, her father controlled her finances and many aspects of her life, citing concerns for her safety and mental health. Since regaining her independence, Spears has been open about her struggles and desire to reclaim her autonomy. But incidents like this one fuel ongoing debates about her readiness to navigate life without oversight. Smoking on any commercial or charter flight operating under federal regulations is strictly prohibited due to the risks of fire and the health and safety of all passengers and crew. Spears' actions not only violated these rules, but also put others at risk, prompting a swift response from flight attendants and authorities. The incident underscores the importance of adhering to aviation safety protocols regardless of celebrity status or perceived privilege. While Spears has apologized and attempted to explain her actions, the episode has fueled renewed concern about her judgment and well-being, both among fans and allegedly those closest to her. As Spears continues to navigate life post-conservatorship, incidents like these serve as a stark reminder of the challenges she faces and the ongoing debate of how best to support the star as she seeks independence and stability.
Sharon Osbourne hopped on the Ozempic train and it's not looking good. Fans are deeply concerned and here's why. Sharon Osbourne looked nearly unrecognizable as she stepped out in Los Angeles last week following her admission that Ozempic has had an adverse effect on her health. The former X Factor judge was among the first celebrities to publicly confirm using the diabetes substance after her dramatically slimmed down appearance sparked widespread concern. Though she was initially pleased with the results after, starting the medication in December of 2022, Osbourne later admitted she feared she had taken it too far, despite revealing last November that she had been off of it for a while. When she appeared on Howie Mandel's podcast, she said, "I can't put on weight now and I don't know what it's done to my metabolism, but I just can't seem to put on any weight because I think I went too far." I mean, it honestly sure does look like that, so she's definitely not wrong there. Now, earlier back in February, she told The Guardian she had lost 3 stones, which is 42 pounds, in 4 months, saying that, that was just too much. Now, her latest outing in Hollywood seems to confirm her concerns with the 72-year-old looking noticeably frail. I mean, she's 72, yeah, but come on, we've seen Jane Fonda at 72, so yeah. The TV host was spotted in a very baggy white sweatshirt and cream pants as she carried shopping bags across a tree-lined sidewalk. Now, despite, the oversized outfit, her noticeably petite frame was still very apparent, though fans instantly recognized her signature giant poof of red hair. Now, Sharon recently said that she hasn't regained any of the weight she lost while taking Ozempic and admitted she's been left feeling frustrated by the lingering effects. She said, "Now I weigh just over 7 stones, which is about 98 pounds. She continued to say, "I need to put on 10 pounds, but however much I eat, I stay the same weight. I've had enough. I've given up all interventions. I couldn't have much more facial surgery. There's not that much skin left to stretch, pull, or cut, and I won't have any more fillers or Botox." She continued to say, "I don't think I'll ever be happy with the way I look, but I'm now satisfied. It's taken years for me to say this, but I've learned my lesson. This is me. It's finally time to leave all alone." I hope she means that because, yeah, she does look sickly. Now, after living much of her life in the spotlight, the TV personality has undergone a range of procedures over the years, including a gastric band, full facelift, tummy tuck and eye lift, implants, abdominoplasty, and Botox. Now, in March 2024, Sharon shocked the public after she made her return to UK reality TV on Celebrity Big Brother, where she was reunited with former X Factor colleague Louise Walsh. Now, the star couldn't actually hide her weight loss on the show, as she revealed doctors, can't figure out why she hasn't been able to gain weight back after she stopped using Ozempic months prior to that. She said, "The doctors can't figure it out, but I think it's just because I'm getting older. And as you get older, you lose weight anyway and shrink and kind of just shrivel off." Now, I guess the question we all have is, why did she take it in the first place? Well, luckily for us, she said the reason she started was simply because everyone else was doing it. Well, I'll be Sharon. If everyone jumped off London's bridge, would you do that too?
Recently, we've had a pretty remarkable meltdown from Kanye West. The rapper turned designer turned US presidential candidate turned Yahtzee with an N has been crashing out online. Admittedly, for a few years, but it picked up in 2025 after the Grammys. The Grammys this year is where Ye's wife Bianca was nude with mesh. Obviously, there was lots of pushback because of this fashion choice that eventually spurred on the latest Kanye West social media rant. Parts of the rant were in support of his wife and her fashion choices, but there were other things in there as well. Lots of hateful words, mainly directed at the Jewish population. He also tweeted in support of people like Diddy and against those that have come forward in the Me Too movement. Essentially, he was tweeting whatever came to mind. Most notably, he tweeted out a photo of a white t-shirt with a well-known Yahtzee with an N hate symbol on it and said that he would never sell something like that because his followers might get hurt if they wear it in public. So not because that symbol is a mark of hatred, at least in the way that Kanye was using it, not in its original context of course, but because the people that would want to wear it hatefully might get hurt. Anyways, literally, guess what he started selling shortly after that? that. You'll never get it. The very same t-shirt. He took out an ad during the Super Bowl, aka like the most watched sports event in the US, and advertised his website, but when people went there, the only item for sale was the shirt he said he would never sell. The ad itself was also quite strange. It was filmed on his phone, which was similar to what he did last year, except last year he filmed from his car and the site was full of normal clothes and shoes, whereas this year he filmed from seemingly his dentist office right after a procedure, and the site led to the one terrible t-shirt. Kanye's Twitter rant eventually morphed into him literally tweeting out explicit videos, links to them, which is interesting considering a couple years ago he was calling for the site to remove all of that stuff and that Jesus saves. It was after this that he deactivated his account for the first time. He returned shortly after with more offensive and erratic tweets. Now, listen, I don't really think that Kanye is humiliated by his outbursts at all, but he should be. His hate-filled remarks have no place anywhere, and it's truly amazing how in just a couple years he went from preaching about the Lord to claiming to be him. But back when the idea of going viral was still kind of a new thing, Christian Bale had a meltdown that grew so popular it was people's ringtones. So let's set the scene. Bale is working on Terminator Salvation, or T4. He's in the middle of a scene and the cinematographer walks into the background of a shot right across Bale's sightline. Bale proceeds to crash out about this. The video of this moment was never released if there was any, but there was audio, and honestly, the video's not really needed. You can hear how mad the actor is. After being released online, the audio quickly spread to every inch of the internet. It featured plenty of explicit language, enough to get cancelled by today's standards for sure. He called the cinematographer unprofessional multiple times, threatened to quit, the whole 9 yards. Bale yelled that he wouldn't go around during a scene ripping the set apart, so why should the cinematographer be disrespecting the actor's space like this too? In the end, the rant had more of an effect on Terminator Salvation than it did Bale's career. People obviously weren't happy with how Bale treated the cinematographer, but for the most part, it was just kind of the movie that flopped. People were already on the fence about T4, and the rant just made people want to see it less. Bale ended up issuing a public apology, saying he was out of order beyond belief, he makes no excuses for it, there is nobody that has heard the tape that has been hit harder than him, and saying that he sometimes gets so lost in a role that he does lose himself a bit. Shortly after this, Bale went on to star in the final installment of the Dark Knight trilogy, and the on-set rant turned into a minor hiccup in the actor's journey and a fun fact that you would hear about in a video like this. The on-set meltdown nearly destroyed his career at the time, but then, you know, Batman came back around, and it's amazing what a good acting performance can do for someone's reputation. Hugh Grant was called out online after the reason for his on-set meltdown on the Dungeons & Dragons film came to light. The British actor apparently lost it on a woman who was simply there to chaperone the young star of the movie. He had thought that she was someone who was more familiar with movie sets, like an executive or someone like that. I mean, that doesn't really warrant the response that he apparently had. Grant said that he had lost his temper and compared himself to Christian Bale's infamous 2009 incident. He shared all this in an interview with Total Film magazine. Apparently, it also happened on the first day of filming. He said that he ended up doing a lot of groveling once he realized the error of his ways and that the woman was actually very nice. Unfortunately, this outburst news was not exactly a surprise to a lot of people that have followed Grant's career through the years. He gained a rep for being very difficult on set. In 2012, TV host and actor Jon Stewart claimed that Grant's on-set behavior wasn't great, saying the actor would never be welcomed back on the show that he had been working for at the time. He also said that Grant was giving everyone grief the whole time. Hugh Grant appeared to have taken a break from acting early in his career, but according to the actor, that was not on purpose. Apparently, his behavior on the movie set, Did You Hear About the Morgans, caused opportunities to dry up for him, and that's not me saying that, it's him. He pinpointed this flick as the moment his career took a pause, claiming that Hollywood gave me up because I made such a massive turkey with that film with Sarah Jessica Parker. Whether I wanted to or not after that, the days of being a very well-paid leading man were suddenly gone overnight. People are also speculating that Grant is the person behind an on-set story from Rebecca Ferguson told early last year. The actress shared that she was once screamed at by a co-star on set to the point of tears. To be clear, Ferguson has never actually named the person that she was talking about. She made it clear that she wanted people to focus less on that and more on the message that she was trying to convey. The Sparks Notes version of that is that you need to know how to stand up for yourself. But still, the internet loves drama and began combing through her past projects trying to find the actor. Due to his past on-set behavior, when people saw that Hugh Grant starred in Florence Foster Jenkins with her, he became suspect number one. It's like a year later though, and there hasn't been any confirmation that the yeller was in fact Hugh Grant. Though the actor himself has said that Renee Zellweger is one of the few actresses that he hasn't fallen out with, so there's that. Hailey Bieber was called out by a former former restaurant host on TikTok for being not nice, leading to the star issuing a public apology. Back in 2020, TikToker Julia Carolan started rating celebrities that she had interacted with during her time at an upscale, unspecified New York restaurant. Using a 1 to 10 schedule, she would share why certain people ranked the way that they did. Hailey Bieber received a 3.5 out of 10. Julia claimed that she had interacted with the model multiple times and none of them were great. She said that she wasn't trying to be a hater and wanted to like the star, but the score speaks for itself. It's not clear exactly what Bieber might have done to receive this score, but it's clear that she wasn't proud of her past actions when she actually found and responded to this video. The model left a comment apologizing for her behavior that read, "Just came across this video and wanted to say so sorry if I've ever given you bad vibes or a bad attitude. That's not ever my intention." She went on to say that she was glad that she was called out and held accountable for her behavior so she can do better in the future. She also said that she hoped the pair could someday meet in person so she could apologize face to face. Carolan did respond saying that she hopes for the same and that she also appreciated Bieber taking accountability for her actions. The precise words were calling her an accountability queen. Despite Bieber apologizing, people still attacked her online. She's one of those people on the internet that people just do not like and will take any opportunity to go after. Sometimes it's warranted, other times it's not, in my opinion anyways. Anyway, the point is she receives a lot of hate online pretty consistently, and that can take a toll mentally. She gave fans an inside look at how it all affects her in a series posted to her YouTube channel featuring psychiatrist Dr. Jessica Clemens. She directly addressed the previously mentioned TikTok, saying that seeing the video really upset her. She explained that at varying points, presumably including that of when she met the hostess, she was going through a lot of emotional lows and interacting with anyone was difficult. She did clarify that she knows that that doesn't excuse her negative behavior. The model shared that she actually didn't even remember meeting Carolan, but she still regretted her actions and wants to strive to do better.
Lindsay Lohan, she had everything going for her as a child star, but her transition from a freckled-faced Disney kid to full-blown adult was difficult to say the least. A DUI arrest that happened in May of 2007 was the beginning of the end for the celeb, as what followed immediately after was a string of more misdemeanors and missed court dates. Lohan's public meltdowns caused her to get less and less movie roles, and between car accidents, accusations of theft, multiple stays in rehab, and even a brief time in jail, she remained the paparazzi's top target and the public's biggest fascination at the time. She has very recently had the comeback of the century, so kudos to her, and here's hoping it sticks. Amanda Bynes, as the star of her own Nickelodeon show and her roles in countless teen comedies, she was seen as the bubbly girl next door and a promising actress on her rise to superstardom. However, in March of 2012, she had some very public meltdowns as she got a DUI and was also charged with possession of illicit substances. Now, her personal appearance also drastically started changing, and rumors were fueled that she had undergone botched plastic surgery. If that wasn't enough, her social media presence also became increasingly bizarre. On Twitter, she said some very vulgar things about Drake, and in May of 2013, she was seen throwing a glass smoking device out of the 36th floor window of her New York apartment. She was then hospitalized in a mental health facility and then later released into the care of her parents, who were granted conservatorship over her affairs. Britney Spears, this teen pop star who got her first kick on the Mickey Mouse Club along fellow stars like Justin Timberlake and Ryan Gosling, was arguably the biggest superstar in the world in the late 90s and early 2000s. But by 2004, when she married twice in a 9-month span, first to friend Jason Alexander and next to her backup dancer Kevin Federline, that was the start of the fall. As she started her family, Spears was hounded by paparazzi and accused of everything from negligent parenting to substance dependency issues, and a day after walking out of rehab, she experienced a very public meltdown as we watched her shave her head bald in 2007 and attack paparazzi with an umbrella. The courts then placed Britney under the conservatorship of her father, Jamie Spears, and it wasn't until just a couple years ago that she was released from it after the whole Free Britney movement. Although her recent behavior online suggests to many that that may have been a mistake to have her released. Demi Lovato. From the beginning, Demi was a little edgy for the Disney Channel that employed her, but they made it work. After co-starring in the camp rock movies with the Jonas Brothers and releasing 2 solo albums, rumors quickly began to surface of her using illegal substances and getting in fights with people on set. In October of 2010, Demi reportedly punched a backup dancer while on tour and withdrew tour dates to go into treatment for substance use. Now, she did re-emerge alongside Britney Spears as a judge on the show X Factor, but that was short-lived as she had allegedly relapsed shortly after that, and finally did an MTV documentary-style interview where she actually spoke openly and quite frankly about her issues and continuing recovery journey. Aaron Carter. If you know the Backstreet Boys, you'll know the late Aaron Carter. BSB's fan base was so popular that anyone associated with them would be able to easily gain that notoriety as well. Well, Nick Carter's younger brother Aaron was able to start and boost his career to platinum heights at such a young age. Aaron quickly became involved in a media frenzy when he was caught up in a love triangle with Lindsay Lohan and Hilary Duff. Now, as he became older, things started to take a turn and we started to see him spiral. He actually was arrested and charged with a DUI in 2017, and by 2019 his overall health was at a low, and his brother Aaron actually obtained a temporary restraining order against Aaron because he allegedly made threats to him. The most public meltdown though was when he actually appeared on the daytime show The Doctors and revealed that he had been diagnosed with multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia, acute anxiety, and manic depression. He had a child in 2021, and sadly 1 year later on November 5th, 2022, he passed away at the age of 34, so rest in peace. Selena Gomez, the Wizards of Waverly Place and Disney starlet turned singer slash superstar, has been famous and in the headlines for one reason or the other in the past 2 decades, but she started to rebel in her own ways the older she got, and it seems to have started, after she starred in the 2013 film Spring Breakers, because by 2014, she canceled tours and was checked into an Arizona rehab facility for 2 weeks. Fast forward to just recently in January of 2025, Selena had a seemingly public meltdown as she faced backlash for sobbing over ICE arrests in 2 now deleted videos. Now, upon receiving a ton of backlash and deleting the post, she then shared a follow-up post on her Instagram where she wrote, "Apparently it's not okay to show empathy for people." However, she deleted that post also. Most of the fans, reactions were of the consensus that Selena crying on film was not going to help any family affected, and were upset that she waited until it was too late to show empathy. Charlie Sheen. In a rather strange interview with ABC in February of 2011, the actor blasted 2.5 Men creator Chuck Lorre and proclaimed he was not bipolar but bi-winning. He also called Lorre a turd and a clown. During this interview, Charlie Sheen explains that he has tiger blood, and when she asked, the last time he used, he said, I use a blender, I use a vacuum cleaner, but ultimately said he can't remember the last time he used illegal substances. Now, from beginning to end, Sheen seems to celebrate his obvious meltdown, leading many to fear for his physical and psychological health. Despite the controversy surrounding the interview, it gained him further popularity. It gained him further popularity and actually gave the show he once was on the highest rating of the night. Chris Brown. In 2011, his Good Morning America appearance began with a smile, but he ultimately left angry and shirtless. The interview itself is very brief, with Robin Roberts focusing mostly on Brown's past and public image rather than his new album. Now on camera, Brown stays focused and even performs a song. Backstage, however, things went sour when Roberts began the conversation by asking about Rihanna. This interview came 2 years after pleading guilty to charges, and Chris Brown was clearly not pleased that his past kept being brought up. Brown didn't appreciate Robin Roberts prying about his situation with Rihanna and all of the hate that he got for it, so he had a very public meltdown. Brown stormed backstage after the interview, ripped his shirt off, and smashed a window with a chair, causing it to shatter and the shards of glass to fall on the sidewalk outside. Security was reportedly called to the scene immediately, but by the time they arrived, a very shirtless Brown was just headed out the door. Alec Baldwin. While a very popular actor, Alec Baldwin's temper has repeatedly gotten him into a lot of trouble. Back in 2007, Baldwin left a very nasty voicemail for his 11-year-old daughter, Ireland, calling her a thoughtless little pig. The incident was, acted upon a family judge who prevented Baldwin from contacting Ireland. Now, 4 years later, Baldwin got kicked off an American Airlines flight for being violent and belligerent. He had reportedly been asked to put his phone away, resulting in a public meltdown that saw him banging on walls, throwing papers on the ground, and screaming at the stewardess. Now, the incident was later parodied by Baldwin himself on Saturday Night Live. At least he has some self-awareness. Christian Bale. It's clear that this Oscar-winning actor takes his job very seriously, and it resulted in a meltdown for the ages. Bale was filming Terminator Salvation and was deeply angered by the on-set actions of cinematographer Shane Hurlbut. Bale stopped performing and screamed at him in a very lengthy tirade. Bale's flurry of profanity would make Tony Montana proud. At one point, it even sounds like Bale is restrained to keep things from getting physical. Now, this legendary meltdown was captured on audio only, sadly, and discreetly released to the public, where it became a pop culture sensation. Bale later apologized for the rant and said that he had made up with Halbert.
First off, Miss Britney Spears. On February 16, 2007, the Gimme More singer infamously shaved her head. Days later, she shocked the world by furiously attacking a paparazzo's car with an umbrella. The following July, the pop star offered up a bizarre explanation for her violent behavior. I was preparing my character for a role in a movie where the husband never plays his part, so they switch places accidentally, she wrote on her website. I take all my roles very seriously and got a little carried away. Unfortunately, I didn't get the part. But in her 2023 memoir, her opinion on the incident changed. She says, I'd been eyeballed so much growing up, I'd been looked up and down, I had people telling me what they thought of my body since I was a teenager. Shaving my head and acting out were ways of pushing back, Spears adds in the book. After Britney was put in a court-ordered conservatorship in 2008, granting her father and a lawyer control over all her financial and personal affairs, she says she was forbidden from keeping the new shaved look. Under the conservatorship, I was made to understand that those days were now over, she writes. I had to grow my hair out and get back into shape. I had to go to bed early and take whatever medication they told me to take. Our next celebrity meltdown involves Nothing Compares to You singer Sinead O'Connor. Sinead was performing on SNL when a brief moment destroyed her entire career. On October 3rd, 1992, O'Connor appeared on SNL to promote her new album, Am I Not Your Girl? For the second song of the evening, O'Connor had chosen to perform an a cappella version of Bob Marley's song War. Throughout the performance, she stared intently into the camera, and as she sang the final line, we have confidence in the victory of good over evil, O'Connor held a photograph of the Pope directly in front of the camera, ripped it up, saying, fight the real enemy, before throwing the pieces to the floor. The SNL producers were not aware of O'Connor's plan. During the dress rehearsal, she had held up a picture of a child. Everybody at SNL apparently froze after the live performance, unsure how to react, and that the music producer Liz Welch went from jubilation to tears. The executive producer Lorne Michaels said the air went out of the studio and that he ordered that the applause sign should not be used. The audience remained silent and O'Connor returned to her dressing room where somebody found her talking to herself, quote, doing something between poetry and chanting. Our next celebrity meltdown involves Nicki Minaj and Mariah Carey. On an episode of American Idol, the former show judges got into a curse word-filled fight. Minaj criticized Carey for being too harsh on a contestant, which the Vision of Love singer responded by saying, I'm sorry, it's just that that's what I do, Nicki. The Anaconda rapper immediately fired back. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry I can't help her, she said, tossing her seat behind her. Maybe I should just get off the effing panel. Let me get off the panel. After leaving the room, Nicki was overheard shouting, shut the F up. Finish the show, I'm done. But that's not the only on-air meltdown Nicki Minaj has had. when accepting her VMA award for Best Music Video, Nicki made a dig at fellow performer Miley Cyrus. While thanking her pastor and other fans, Nicki said, "Back to this B-word who had a lot to say about me the other day in the press. Miley, what's good?" Speaking of on-air meltdowns, Hugh Grant had some rude things to say to Ellen while on her talk show. After she complimented her guest, calling him fantastic, smart, and all those things, Grant responded back by saying, "I wish I thought that about you." He also had some rude things to say about Julia Roberts while on the Oprah show. Very big mouth. Literally, physically, she has a very big mouth. When I was kissing her, I was aware of a faint echo. Again, they would try to get Grant back on track during the interview, mentioning that Julia Roberts was a really good person, in which Grant responded by saying, "I wouldn't go that far." Hugh Grant would go on to admit that this current relationship with Roberts is not on the best of terms because of past comments. "I've probably made too many jokes about the size of her mouth. She might hate me by now." Michael Jackson seemed to have a meltdown after his infamous baby dangling incident. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here is the story. In 2002, Michael Jackson visited Berlin to accept an award for his philanthropic work on behalf of children, a Lifetime Bambi Entertainment Award. During his stay, the pop star dangled his 9-month-old son, nicknamed Blanket because his face was covered with a towel, over the balcony of the hotel he was staying in. It seemed that what the king of pop was trying to do was show his baby to the fans that had gathered outside his hotel, but the public's response was obviously completely opposite from what Jackson had expected. As soon as photos and videos of the incident were released to the public, the media started criticizing Michael's parenting skills and reckless behavior. Ringo Starr, a former member of the Beatles, got in a serious altercation with interviewer Sherry Hewson. During a live event, she said, "He just sat down, said, 'Okay then girls, what are we doing here? Shall we just get Paul McCartney out of the way?'" This was live, by the way. Anyway, he carries on. "Let's get Paul McCartney out the way." "You want me to talk about Paul McCartney?" I said. "Well, no, you're here." And he said, "No, you don't. You want to talk about Paul McCartney." She continued, "He was so angry. It was just so weird. I thought, why? Why? It was just a really weird thing." And then he said to the audience, "Can I tell you all, if anyone wants an autograph, cannot have one, because I don't do things like that." At the end of it, one of the producers came up with one of her little children who was only 4 years old and said that she knew he didn't do autographs, but told him that her daughter was only 4 and she really loves the Beatles. He just stared and said, "Really?" And then he said, "Did you not hear what I just said? I don't sign autographs." Yikes. David Letterman, former host of the David Letterman Show, has made some really weird on-screen moments while interviewing celebrities, and some of these stories are really hard to believe. When he was interviewing Madonna, he stopped the interview and asked her, "Why don't you go and kiss the guy in the audience?" Shocked, she said, "Why are you so obsessed with my love life?" He responded by saying, "Go kiss the guy in the audience. It would knock him out." She responded, "I can't. I've never succumbed to peer pressure." Interviewing Jennifer Lopez, he made the cameraman zoom into a close-up of her chest while saying, "That's pretty good. That's pretty darn good." Ew. David Letterman seems quite rude, but perhaps the rudest interview story has to go to Jesse Eisenberg. While promoting his new movie Now You See Me, the actor seemed to have a meltdown while in an interview, being extremely rude to the interviewer. Out of nowhere, Jesse brought up the often maligned comedian Carrot Top. Before long, it became clear that Eisenberg only brought up Carrot Top so he could mock the interviewer, whose name was Puga, her abilities as an interviewer. "Do you know the comedian Carrot Top? Well, you're like the Carrot Top of interviewers. Yeah, it's a good thing. Don't cry now. Cry after the interview is over, because otherwise I'll look like I'm responsible for it." Yikes. After this back and forth conversation, Eisenberg half-heartedly performed a magic trick. Puga then asked Eisenberg if he could say her name to the camera. In response, Eisenberg asked Puga to explain what his motivation for saying her name was, like he was performing an acting exercise. When Puga asked Eisenberg to say her name like he was trying to find her in a crowded place, he quietly said her name. Puga then remarked that she would never be able to hear him in a club, and his explanation for why he was being quiet seemed very harsh. He said, "The thing is, I actually didn't want to find you. I actually was hoping to stay alone." After the interview was done, the interviewer said she went behind the curtain and cried. Shia LaBeouf, former Disney star known for his troubled past, turned heads when he wore a paper bag saying, "I am not famous anymore," to a red carpet premiere for his new movie. Just hours before the premiere, LaBeouf found himself sat with a panel in front of a room full of journalists as well as his co-stars. When asked about his decision to star in a movie with so many love scenes, he bent low over the microphone and replied, "When the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much." He then got up, pushed the mic away, and stormed out of the conference, leaving the audience and his fellow panelists mystified. What does that even mean? Our final celebrity meltdown involves Miss Ariana Grande. In 2015, Ariana went with friends to a donut shop to grab a sweet treat. Everything was looking good until the employee at the donut shop supposedly turned around behind the counter, and while he wasn't looking, Ariana licked some of the donuts still for sale while saying, "I hate America," and later calling the donuts disgusting. The security footage of the incident went mega viral online, and Ariana quickly went to Twitter to apologize, saying, "Seeing a video of yourself behaving poorly that you have no idea was taken is such a rude awakening that you don't know what to do. I was so disgusted with myself." She said, "I'm not here to make any excuses or to justify my behavior because I can't. I'm just here to apologize."